Chapter 19. Satana's power, man's power. After this powerful decision by the Lord, Kisahel said to the Lord, "O you most loving, holy Father, I, as surely also Enoch and Lamech, recognize your infinite goodness and mercy in its foundation. But if I now consider the terrible power you have given to your enemy over all of creation, and thus also over us, I become very anxious for the whole of humanity on earth. Because if this enemy has from the beginning, with his broken power, caused you and the earth and all of us so much harm, what will he do with all the power you have granted him now? Therefore, I want to ask you to consider the future, and should not grant such terrible great powers to your enemy. Otherwise, all the holiness which you, O most dearest Father, have built, will be of very little use. For before you know, he will wreak in your house the greatest damage, and we will not be safe in his presence, even if you are constantly remain among us visibly as now. Therefore, O Lord and Father, consider what you're doing." Here the Lord spoke somewhat seriously to Kisahel. "I tell you, hold your tongue in peace, if you cannot dispense something better with it from inside you. Otherwise you will become more annoying to me than Satana. I know what I'm doing, but you do not know what you're talking about. I worry about the preservation of the eternal order and all beings from it and in it. But you only care for the preservation of the world. Do you think I will give the enemy more than to each one of you? How would I then be a holy God? But I say to you, the enemy's supreme power in the stars and on earth and in you is put together not greater than that of any one of you in the love for me. This I have shown you by the stick, with which you have beaten the enemy. This stick will stay with you until the great time of times, in which I will erect another stick, which will take away from the enemy all the power over the stars and over half the earth. And it will happen to him according to his works. And he should hear it now, that in the end, all captive children will be of no use to him, because the new wood will seize them away from him, and he will be left with nothing but his own great powerlessness and the judgment thereof. You are completely free, and this freedom cannot be taken away from you by the enemy. You can mightily do what you want, and he can do what he wants. Since you, however, can be by far more powerful, and from the ground in fact are, it will depend on you to defeat the enemy, or be defeated by him foolishly. But what man is weaker than his wife, if he is a true, wise man? But if you can be masters of your wives, who can be around you at all times, you most likely will also be able to master this woman, because she is by far weaker than the weakest woman among all of your wives. If you had chastised your wife, she would have opposed you. Was this woman able to do this? But as such, it has to remain henceforth. And my power will never forsake you, if you shall remain in the love for me. The bond has been erected between me and you, and no woman's and no enemy's power is capable of completely destroy entirely, ever. Understand this, and do not talk more foolish stuff before me. Amen. Here, Kisahel was completely unvexed again, and asked the Father to forgive his great folly. And the Lord blessed him, and then said, "Thus be true masters of all flesh of women, and your act of procreation should not take place on earth, but in heaven, so that your fruits become fruits of grace and strength, and should be pleasant to the eye." Amen. Here Satana sighed deeply and said, "O Lord, what fruit will then be begotten out of me? Should I forever languish and remain barren like a withered thorn hedge?" And the Lord said to her, "Turn to me in your heart, and you will carry fruits for me, the likes of which eternity has never seen. Otherwise, you should only bear fruits of eternal death, who will one day judge you as the biggest whore. Understand this, since from now on only the least will be considered by me, and the unglamorous simplicity will have my delight forever. Therefore, do accordingly, and you will escape my judgment. Amen.